So the first achievement you unlock in Team Fortress 2 is Ready for Duty, and according to my personal achievements, I unlocked this on August 30th of 2011, but according to my library, I added it on January 5th of 2012. It came a couple months later, so I don't know which one came first. But my point is, I've been playing Team Fortress 2 for a very long time. And why do I talk about this? Because now, when we fast forward to the current gaming landscape, it is quite obvious that Western studios pretty much do not know what they're doing. They're chasing this ghost that doesn't exist, this modern audience that doesn't exist, and we're seeing the results of that in 2024. And the reason why I talk about Team Fortress 2 is because Team Fortress 2 was one of the few titles, if not the only titles, that set the standard to what we see today. If it wasn't for Team Fortress 2, there wouldn't be any Fortnite, because we're talking about games as a service, as a live service, and TF2 was one of the first ones. TF2 was also one of the first ones to introduce in-game loot crates and microtransactions with their hats. But over the last 11, 12, maybe 13 years that I've been playing this game, it is quite obvious to me that I should have never stopped playing it. And I only have 370 hours, and I've been playing this game for the last month and a half, every day nonstop. And I realized when I play this game, I'm like, man, it is quite literally the perfect first-person shooter, and it's tied with Counter-Strike. I have to be honest. Everything else is just trend chasing and microtransactions, and you go back and forth with the developers. Now, Team Fortress 2 has seen its share of controversies in the last several years, and it's been patched and it's all good now. And one of the reasons why I stopped playing years ago was because of its hacking problem and its bot problem, and that has been squashed. Now, if you follow the peripheral scene, especially with keyboards, you have the Wooting and you have, I believe, the Huntsman from Razer, and they both introduced software technologies that are basically nullbinds. And it was Rappy Snappy with the Wooting and Snap Tap with the Razer, and that officially got squashed by Valve, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, when they announced that yes, you will be booted in-game if you use these features. And why do I talk about this? Because within that announcement by Valve, they also kind of low-key admitted that they've been working on their next iteration of Valve anti-cheat called VACnet 3.0, and VACnet was introduced in 2019, and now we see its 3.0 iteration, and it's supposedly being powered by AI. So I believe it's gone into effect now. It might be in CS2, Team Fortress 2, and in Dota 2. So the bot problem is gone. That's the reason why I talk about that. But to go back to Team Fortress 2, it is not my opinion that this is one of the most played first-person shooters on Steam. It's always in the top 5 or the top 10 with 60, sometimes 70, 80,000 players. And the same cannot be said about other first-person shooters. Now, you have your Call of Duties and your Battlefields, but if you think about it, every year is just another iteration of the same game. If that's the case, why not just make it a live service game? Obviously, the publishers want to make that money. But with the current business model, you introduce so many problems, and every year people take to the socials to argue back and forth with the developers, and it's a never-ending cat and mouse game, and nothing ever gets fixed. It's always trend chasing, and especially since Fortnite came out now almost 10 years ago, everyone is still trying to do that battle royale hero shooter that doesn't add any innovation. It doesn't progress the industry forward. And remember many years ago when this former CEO of EA stated that players don't want to play single player games anymore, and we know that is now false with the great success of Black Myth Wukong. And yes, there is a higher and deeper skill ceiling to playing these games like Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2, and I have to admit that playing Team Fortress 2 as a newcomer, not me, but you if you've never played it, does in fact seem a little confusing as to what to do. So there is a huge skill gap. Now, when you look at the normie games, the normie first-person shooters, they're catered towards the regular consumer, the guy who gets out of work 9 to 5, he just wants to come home and chill on the couch for like about an hour until he attends his family or his own personal life. I get it. There's a market for that. There's a market for normie players. But when you're a low-life degenerate like me who plays Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2 all day, every day, you tend to start to look for something more pleasing, more fulfilling, and that is Team Fortress 2. And I realize now, even though I was decent, sometimes kind of nice in Call of Duty and Battlefield, there is nothing more fulfilling than knowing that you yourself as an individual can make an impact in a game like Team Fortress 2. There is no other game where I feel as though I can do something. Either you're playing Team Deathmatch or you're playing another team-based objective shooter. There are still so many variables against you. But when you look at something like Team Fortress 2 and time is running out and you need to make a decision as to how to get to the objective or how to push that cart forward, and you can always change classes mid-fight, then you realize the genius that is Team Fortress 2. You guys need to give this game a chance, even though it's been around for 17 years and even longer. This goes back to the mid to late 90s, believe it or not. I think the best thing you can do, even if you never want to play Team Fortress 2, is to download it, install it, and just play the developer commentary just to show you, or just watch it on YouTube, just to show you exactly the philosophy and the ideology that went behind character design, map design, the flow of the action, the removal of grenades, because they focus tested this many times and for many years, and they realized that that didn't progress the game forward. So many little decisions that Valve has made with Team Fortress 2, and when you compare that to today's landscape, you're like, holy shit, this is really genius. This is why this game is always top 10, top 15, sometimes top 5. Now, in hindsight, there is some criticism with the loot boxes and games as a live service, but TF2 is the granddaddy of them all. And when it comes to loot boxes, all of these corporations, they saw how much money Valve was making. And so I understand when greed sets in, when investors want more money, then every game gets spoiled and littered with these loot boxes. And it's something that, you know, it's up to you. You vote with your dollar. Guys, I can't get enough of Team Fortress 2, and just to think that many years ago, I used to rent an actual server for the Spawn Trap community, and we used to play TF Tuesdays, where a bunch of us will get together and fill that server up. And I'm looking through my library and all the videos that I've had from my previous channel, and I'm like, holy shit, I really did make a lot of Team Fortress 2 content. But I look at it now, and it's unbelievable how many years I've been playing this game. I should have thousands of hours alongside of Dota 2 that I just broke, I believe, 4,600 hours. And I don't see myself playing any other first-person shooter anytime soon. And I'm not even excited for the next Battlefield. Apparently, there is a new Call of Duty beta out, but I can't play that on Linux. And sometimes Linux for me is a blessing in disguise, because I'm looking at the gameplay and I'm like, I have no interest whatsoever. I mean, what can I say? For the foreseeable future, it's nothing but TF2 for me.